Kathy, hi.
Hi.
Cast your mind back to a few years ago when we were introduced by a mutual colleague, actually, a mutual colleague, and he said, Gary's the kind of guy that might be able to give you the help you want, but I think he said, be careful, he's a bit like Marmite.
He did.
Yeah, which I don't have a problem with at all, but what were you feeling that you needed at that time for him to do that introduction? What was missing?
Really, the sales expertise, I think, initially. I'd come from a HR technical background and started to grow the business organically, but I'd started to then recruit some salespeople and didn't really know how to direct them, how to coach them, guide them in terms of their work performance. What I was clear about was that we could get more from them, really. So that's what prompted me, I think, back then to seek that expertise.
And what was that lack of your expertise and that need for help? How was that causing you to feel?
Obviously, when you're a startup business anyway, you're very reliant on bringing in new business, new acquisition. So I suppose back then I felt really insecure by not being able to deliver those numbers. So I wanted to try and work with someone to get that consistency, to know what was coming in, to make sure that the cash was going to be there to pay the wages. So, you know, it can be a very insecure place as a managing director in a new startup, trying to do all of the things and be all things to all people and not really having the skill across that spectrum of, you know, sales, marketing, administration, IT, all of the things that you need to be able to do. So yeah, it was very much about, let's protect the cash, let's make sure that we're secure really in the marketplace.
And so obviously you've been teed up that I was very much Marmite, but
yes.
we had a couple of calls and we had a couple
did.
of meetings. So what was it that convinced you that I was the right fit?
Well, I liked you, so I thought, well, to me, you know, Marmite, you know, so I suppose the personality suited us as a business. I think, you know, someone who's upbeat, positive, professional, you know, prepared to take a few risks, you know, so wanting someone who could really bring that small business perspective into my business. So I suppose partly was myself feeling very comfortable with you from the beginning and thinking if I can work with you, obviously the culture of my business is brought about by myself usually. So I thought that my colleagues would work with you well as well. Obviously I introduced you to Liam, I think, initially, who was our first sales exec. And I think you sort of struck a relationship straight away in terms of your footballing.
Well, yeah,
and you're both quite competitive, and you're a Leeds fan and him a Man U fan. So I think that was good as well, because you were able to make those personal connections really quickly.
And that's what it's about. It's about having common ground, isn't it? And if you've got that common ground, you start to trust each other and let your guard down a little bit, and that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. And I think, you know, obviously I've engaged you on a number of projects since that initial inception. And I think that was very much because Liam gave me that positive feedback that he felt that the coaching that you'd given him was better than any training that he'd had previously.
And that's key for me, because there's a lot of people in the advisory space, what I call cookie cutters, so that, you know, they're giving you the same approach and the same tools and the same techniques, right? And that's great to a point. But, you know, when someone like Liam, as you mentioned, or yourself, are saying, well, actually, we need help here. It's not about a formulaic approach, it's about tailoring your approach to suit the exact client's needs, which is where you're going to deliver better value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I find that approach from others quite frustrating, because I've done the academic side of this myself, but that doesn't teach you everything. And you really do need to work with somebody who's been there, got the t-shirt, and also supported other businesses to be successful. And you know, as you know, Gary, things change, there's ups and downs, there's different disruptions, different challenges come along. It's knowing that you can pick up the phone and speak to someone who's got that experience, and can maybe just reach out to some other of their customers as well and say, I can couple you up with A, B and C who do something similar.
That's been one of the constants for me, because you know I've been working with a sales team, we've done some work on business strategy, but you know, there's been many times when you just pick the phone up and say, can I just chat to you about X? Can I chat to you about Y? And sometimes it's it's having that sounding board, it's having somebody just to vent off at, it's having somebody just to say, hey, help me with this.
Like I said, it can be quite isolating, I think, in the MD's role. And sometimes knowing that you've got those confidants and people that you do trust and want to get that guidance from, really. And, you know, I have often phoned you, haven't I, between 7:30 and 8 in the morning and just said, Gary, you know, I'm getting frustrated with X, Y and Z. And I know only a few weeks ago I got myself and a colleague to speak to you about LinkedIn because we were having challenges there, and that was really nice. Now I can just pick up the phone and speak to you about those things.
So given where we were when we first started working together, which is a long, long while, in fact it's when you were at the old office actually, so based on where you are now, what would you say the major kind of transformation is that you've seen as a result of the work that we've done together?
I think definitely Liam, going back to Liam and what I brought you in to do initially, is hitting target every month. That's been just so fantastic for him and for us as a business, you know, to watch him grow and, you know, to deliver like he has, and he's now our most senior and most experienced salesperson. So that's been fantastic to watch someone grow like that. Obviously, having more clarity as well around the strategy, the sales strategy, and again, this is something that you taught me. Marketing is about lead generation, and I think what we were doing a lot of what we thought was marketing. It wasn't actually generating the leads, it was probably some good PR. And I think that again has been quite transformational because the salespeople weren't getting the opportunities through because the marketing strategy wasn't right, and therefore, and the focus and the direction that I was giving wasn't right either. So that's been really transformational. And again, all of those things mean that from a business perspective, you know, we've more than doubled our growth. So, you know, that at the end of the day, it comes down to turnover and profitability, doesn't it? And, you know, so, you know, that's all now in place, and, you know, we're going from strength to strength, really.
So for other business owners that are in the same place you were all those many years ago when we first started working together, who are thinking, you know, should I get some outside help? What does that outside help look like? Is Gary King the right kind of option for me? What would you say to them? Absolutely.
I think you've taught us so much. I think you've brought the business to life in terms of the sales and marketing strategy. I think, you know, you're very personable, you get to know people, you're very kind as well, and I think, you know, you give your time. When I say, you know, you'll give your time even when it's not been paid for sometimes. And I think all of that just is over and above what you would get from a lot of sales mentors and business mentors, leadership mentors. You know, you're not just out for yourself, you are really invested in the businesses that you work with.
Fantastic. Kathy, it's been a real pleasure working with you, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.